The world of professional boxing thrives on rivalries, and few are as charged as the brewing feud between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Shakur Stevenson. This conflict, steeped in personal and professional stakes, has captured the attention of fans and insiders alike, with tensions escalating beyond the ring. At the heart of the drama lies a clash of personalities, mutual respect, and a deep-seated connection to a shared mentor, Calvin Ford, whose influence has shaped both fighters' careers. The narrative is further complicated by Davis's recent performance struggles, his evolving team dynamics, and the anticipation of a potential unification showdown that could redefine the lightweight division. Gervonta Davis, an undefeated three-division world champion, has long been a dominant force in boxing. Known for his explosive knockout power and magnetic charisma, he has built a reputation as one of the sport's biggest stars. His journey began in West Baltimore, where, at the age of 7, he met Calvin Ford at the Upton Boxing Center. Ford, a former street figure who turned his life around after a decade in prison, became more than a trainer to Davis. He was a mentor, a father figure, and a guide who steered the young fighter away from the dangers of street life and toward the discipline of boxing. Ford's influence extended beyond technique, offering life advice and emotional support, helping Davis navigate the complexities of fame and high-profile relationships, including his ties with Floyd Mayweather. Their bond was forged in shared struggles, with Davis often sleeping at Ford's house or accompanying him to his job at a seafood restaurant to stay out of trouble. Ford's coaching philosophy, rooted in technical precision, footwork, and defensive mastery, complemented Davis's natural athleticism and devastating power, creating a synergy that propelled him to titles in multiple weight classes. Shakur Stevenson, another undefeated lightweight champion, emerged from a different path but shares a connection to Ford through their Baltimore roots. A three-division king with an elite boxing IQ, Stevenson is known for his slick movement, defensive wizardry, and strategic approach in the ring. His style contrasts sharply with Davis's aggressive, power-driven approach, setting the stage for a stylistic clash that has fans salivating. Stevenson's respect for Davis is evident, as he has publicly acknowledged the Baltimore native as a unique threat, capable of capitalizing on any mistake with his explosive power. He likens their potential matchup to a clash of titans, akin to Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, where both fighters would push each other to their limits. Yet, Stevenson's confidence in his ability to outbox Davis has added fuel to their rivalry, with the former asserting that his defensive skills and ring generalship would neutralize Davis's power. The tension between Davis and Stevenson reached a boiling point recently, sparked by allegations that Stevenson disrespected Ford, Davis's longtime mentor. Davis, fiercely protective of those closest to him, took to social media in a fiery rant, defending Ford and issuing thinly veiled threats that stunned the boxing community. The outburst was not just about professional rivalry but deeply personal, rooted in the father-son-like bond between Davis and Ford. The mentor's influence on Davis cannot be overstated. Ford's dedication to youth mentorship, inspired by his own redemption, shaped Davis into a champion. He instilled a work ethic that saw Davis as the first in and last out of the gym, even as a child. Ford's personal sacrifices, like taking Davis to work to keep him safe, cemented their bond. The trainer's ability to balance technical instruction with life guidance made him a stabilizing force, especially during Davis's rise to stardom. However, Ford's recent legal troubles have added complexity to this narrative. In early 2024, reports surfaced that Ford was arrested in Baltimore on charges of assault with a deadly weapon in Nevada. The news sent shockwaves through the boxing world, with Ford detained and awaiting transfer to face the charges. Davis, in response, announced a professional separation from his mentor, citing the need to focus on his career and personal growth. The decision was described as mutual, with Davis expressing gratitude for Ford's contributions but emphasizing the necessity of moving forward. The split was not the first, as the two had briefly parted ways before Davis's fight against Lamont Roach Jr. in March 2025. That bout, held at Brooklyn's Barclays Center, ended in a controversial majority draw, marking the first blemish on Davis's pristine record. Fans and analysts noted Davis's lack of sharpness, attributing it to the absence of Ford, whose strategic guidance had been a cornerstone of his success. The Roach fight was a turning point, exposing vulnerabilities in Davis's game. Observers remarked that he lacked his trademark power and focus, appearing slower and less engaged than usual. The ninth round, where Davis took a voluntary knee after a jab, sparked heated debate, with many questioning his conditioning and mental state. The absence of Ford in his corner was seen as a critical factor, with speculation that internal team tensions contributed to the subpar performance. The draw halted Davis's streak of highlight reel knockouts and raised questions about whether he was still at his peak. The fight's pay-per-view numbers, reported at 149,000 buys by Rick Glazer, underscored the public's interest in Davis, even in a lackluster showing. However, skepticism about Glazer's reporting persists, with some questioning the accuracy of his figures due to the lack of corroboration from other sources. In the aftermath, Davis and Ford reconciled, with the trainer returning to his camp ahead of a scheduled rematch against Roach on August 16, 2025, in Las Vegas. The reunion was a full-circle moment, with Davis visibly relieved to have his mentor back. Ford's return reinvigorated the team, reinforcing their emotional and tactical unity. However, in a surprising move, Davis also enlisted a new coach, Mustafa, known for his work on timing, precision, and accuracy. Based in Atlanta, Mustafa has trained fighters like Kevin Farmer, and his addition signals a strategic shift. Davis's training camp now emphasizes fundamentals and conditioning, with workouts focused on improving endurance and sharpening technique. Observers have noted a renewed discipline in Davis, suggesting he is determined to reclaim his dominance in the rematch. The Roach rematch is seen as a critical opportunity for Davis to silence doubters. Analysts expect him to be more active early, relying on combinations and body shots rather than waiting for counterpunching opportunities. Roach, who arguably outboxed Davis for 7 or 8 rounds in their first encounter, proved a formidable opponent with his forward pressure, jab, and calculated aggression. His ability to avoid being overwhelmed by Davis's power made him a unique challenge, and he is expected to stick to a similar game plan in the rematch. However, Davis's renewed focus and the presence of both Ford and Mustafa in his camp suggest he will enter the ring sharper and better prepared. The Roach rematch is seen as a critical opportunity for Davis to silence doubters. Analysts expect him to be more active early, relying on combinations and body shots rather than waiting for counterpunching opportunities. Roach, who arguably outboxed Davis for 7 or 8 rounds in their first encounter, proved a formidable opponent with his forward pressure, jab, and calculated aggression. His ability to avoid being overwhelmed by Davis's power made him a unique challenge, and he is expected to stick to a similar game plan in the rematch. However, Davis's renewed focus and the presence of both Ford and Mustafa in his camp suggest he will enter the ring sharper and better prepared. Amid this, the specter of a unification fight with Stevenson looms large. Both fighters, undefeated lightweight champions, are on a collision course for what many consider the biggest fight in boxing. Stevenson, now a free agent after parting ways with Top Rank, is eager to prove himself as the best at 135 pounds. He sees Davis as the ultimate test, a fighter whose power and unpredictability demand perfection. Former world champion Tim Bradley has boldly predicted that Stevenson will easily outbox Davis, citing his defensive skills and ring IQ as decisive advantages. Bradley's confidence in Stevenson stems from his belief that the fighter's slick movement will neutralize Davis's power, forcing him into a chess match where Stevenson holds the edge. Stevenson, for his part, has been vocal about the matchup, calling it a career-defining opportunity. He acknowledges Davis's strengths, praising his ability to land unexpected shots and his slick skill set. Yet, he remains steadfast in his belief that he can outmaneuver Davis, staying one step ahead to avoid the knockout blows that have felled so many opponents. The personal animosity, fueled by Stevenson's alleged comments about Ford, has only heightened the stakes. Davis's fiery response underscored his loyalty to his team, particularly Ford, whom he credits for his success. The trainer's influence extends beyond Davis, as he has mentored other fighters and served as a community figure in Baltimore, inspiring youth to choose boxing over the streets. Ford's own story is one of redemption. His character inspired a role in The Wire, reflecting his journey from incarceration to becoming a respected coach. His philosophy of keeping fighters all in on boxing, rather than straddling the line between the sport and street life, has saved countless lives, including Davis's. The loss of other young fighters to violence or incarceration weighs heavily on Ford, making his bond with Davis even more profound. When Davis, as a child, told Ford to "believe in me," it cemented their partnership, with the young fighter vowing to become a champion. That promise has been fulfilled, but the recent challenges, Ford's legal issues, the split, and the Roach draw, have tested their resilience. The boxing world is now watching closely as Davis prepares for the Roach rematch and a potential showdown with Stevenson. The latter fight, if it materializes, promises to be a clash of contrasting styles and personalities. Davis's raw power and star appeal make him the favorite, but Stevenson's technical mastery and defensive prowess present a unique challenge. The personal stakes, amplified by the Ford controversy, add an emotional layer that could push both fighters to new heights. Fans are divided, with some believing Davis's aggression will overwhelm Stevenson, while others, like Bradley, see Stevenson's precision as the key to victory. As the rematch with Roach approaches, Davis's renewed focus and expanded coaching team suggest he is leaving nothing to chance. The addition of Mustafa, alongside Ford's return, indicates a deliberate effort to address the shortcomings exposed in the first Roach fight. Meanwhile, Stevenson's free agency and upcoming bouts keep him in the spotlight, with his own performances under scrutiny as he aims to prove he is the one to dethrone Davis. The boxing community awaits the outcome of these developments, knowing that the sport thrives on moments like these, where skill, heart, and personal vendettas collide in the ring. Whether Davis reclaims his dominance or Stevenson emerges as the new face of the lightweight division, the stage is set for a historic chapter in boxing.